What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Jeff, aka GCurse here. Are you ready to hear me tear into these two pieces of shit? Their names are David and Dorris Young. Well, if you are ready to hear me tear into these pieces of shit, get ready. Well, Jeff, what did these two people do? And I'm glad you asked. Because David and his wife, Doris, they decided that the government is a big bad boogie, they're the boogeyman. They're the boogeyman. And apparently they felt like they were screwed over some shit. I really don't know, and I really don't care. Because what did they do? Instead of actually confronting the problem that they had, whatever it was, they decided that they were going to go and kill a whole bunch of little kids. Your ears did not deceive you, ladies and gentlemen. These people who had some sort of axe to grind, they decided that the only course of action that they had was to go to an elementary school and blow it up. Wow, real geniuses we have here, ladies and gentlemen. Real goddamn geniuses. The date was May 16th, 1986, and the location was Cokeville, Wyoming. I've seen a lot of stupid people on Unsolved Mysteries. I've seen crackheads on Unsolved Mysteries. I've seen people who thought they were possessed by ghosts on Unsolved Mysteries. I've seen people who treat a person who generated rain out of nowhere. I saw them treat him like he was an outcast. Now I get to see two idiots that try to kill a whole bunch of little children. Welcome to my... God, I had that all up here. I'm not going to cut it. Welcome to the Thanksgiving 2025 special installment of Unsolved Mysteries commentary. This case from Unsolved Mysteries was part of Season 9, Episode 7. This is what I consider to be the decay of Unsolved Mysteries, where basically they were kind of dying a slow death. For me, I think honestly what it was that the show became too polished, too professional looking. They drifted too far away from what really set them out with, like, say, seasons 1, 2, and 3. I personally think that seasons 1 and 2 were like the best. However, I would say everything after season 5, maybe season 6, was just too polished. It was too professional. There was just something about watching those first couple seasons of Unsolved Mysteries, where it had that rough recording style, like everything looked like you could have watched it on public television. They went too professional. It was too polished. Don't get me wrong, I like the cases, but they started relying too much on computer graphics, and everything. But anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so let's pull up the video. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, so right here, this is like what I was kind of talking about. I do not like this opening card you see right here. I miss the way that it used to be, where basically, you remember what it was like seasons 1, 2, and 3, where it basically kind of came into the screen a little bit and it kind of swept down, I imagine something like that, but we get new stuff like this, and I'm just not a fan of it. The only thing that really saved this TV series for me, especially in season 9 and onward, we had Robert Stack. And we had some good cases. But yeah, I really consider this point to be where they were, like, the show was in full decline.
They wheeled it into the school just after the lunch hour recess. A homemade bomb.
And I already tore into them, and I'm going to continue to tear into them. These people they're losers. They're fucking losers. You have two people that had some sort of axe to grind. Instead of actually going, let's say that, I don't know what their fucking problem was, but let's say, for example, they didn't like the city council. Why not try a grassroots effort to vote in a new city council? When instead these idiots, they decide, you know what, let's just kill a whole bunch of people. Yeah, that'll really make us look like the sympathetic bunch.
packing the brute force of 25 sticks of dynamite.
No futzing around over there, Mike.
They herded everyone at the school, 136 students and 17 adults, into one small room.
What is all this?
Look, shut up and sit down!
His name was David Young, and he was no
Real Einstein level IQ here, ladies and gentlemen. I swear, this guy, he was a Mensa member, wasn't he?
stranger to Cokeville, Wyoming. He had served briefly as a town policeman before he was fired for misconduct.
Oh, gee whiz, we have a psychopath here, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I not shocked that this guy was a former police officer who got fired for misconduct?
Young's resentment had mushroomed into a full-blown messianic tirade. It's a scenario that is now chillingly familiar. Innocent lives hanging by a thread at the whim of a suicidal madman. But 10 years ago, when David Young and his wife Doris stormed the elementary school in Cokeville, Wyoming, such horrors were still fresh and incomprehensible. To the people of Cokeville, it seemed only a miracle could save their loved ones.
Hey, listen! You are all part of a great revolution.
Oh, God, it's one of these nut jobs. We're going to lead in the new revolution. Mike, what? Why can't we just be honest? Well, you know, I'd have more respect for this guy, which I have none, if he actually just said, people hurt my feelings, and now I'm going to get even. But no, it's always a fucking revolution with these fucktards.
One that began many years ago. The government and its schools have filled your mind with lies.
David Young made it clear that he was prepared to kill himself and everyone in the room.
Read it.
Virtually every child in Cokeville between the ages of 5 and 12 was at his mercy.
You know, when this happened, I was not even 5 years old. You know, I was still 4 years old when it happened. I can't help but think that if literally, let's say, like, say 44-year-old Jeff right now, if 44-year-old Jeff was teleported back into 1986, you know, that time frame, and I had a nice family and everything, I had kids I loved, and my kids were in this school as this was happening, if that bomb didn't kill that motherfucker, he you know, I would, you know. If you don't mess with somebody's family like that, and if he got away after he blew up that school, he would have to keep looking over his fucking shoulder because I'm constantly trying to hunt the motherfucker down.
Among them, Melanie Chadwick, then 8 years old.
I didn't really realize what was happening because I remember one of my friends' older brother, Kevin Nate, his older brother Brian, he's like, well, we're being held hostage. And I remember Kevin saying, well, what does hostage mean, you know? We were really young and we didn't realize what was happening.
And when the time comes, you will fully understand the plan I have for you.
I'm a nut job. You're going to have to understand my plan. And probably, like, you know, probably on the piece of paper that he gave out, it probably just says some stupid shit like, you know, all work, no play makes such and such a dull boy or some shit like that. Why the fuck is it that these nut jobs have to target little kids?
Now, so far, you've been pretty good. But if any of you tries to escape, we're going to have to shoot you.
And right there, if that guy fucking lived, let's say he escaped the school and then he blew it up. Let's just say in a weird alternate reality, that's what happened. And my kid was killed. If I found out he said that, man, not only would he already be pissed because he blew up my kid, but the fact he threatened my kid, you know, like, my anger isn't with the guy that you just said it. That's just an actor. My anger is with the actual David Young that did this. You know, like, you don't fucking threaten a family's kids. You know, like, I'll tell you what, he's fucking lucky he got off the way he did.
David told the kids that he would shoot them in the legs so that they couldn't run away. He said, we don't want to hurt you, but if...
Oh, bullshit. We don't want to hurt you, but we have a bomb here that's going to kill y'all. But we don't want to hurt you. Clearly, this guy's family tree only has one branch.
you try to run away, we will.
You, come here. You the principal?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you'll be my spokesman. You tell them I want $2 million apiece for each of these kids. And you tell them I'm attached to this.
Now, let's do some simple math, or not simple math, but hold on. Let's do this real quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Is it this one? There we go. Okay, so I'm trying to get the amount of how many students there was. Okay, so we had 136 students here. Let me highlight it. There you go. There. It was behind my fat head right here. Okay. Okay, let me turn on my calculator. Okay, so he wanted $2 million. So let's see, that's 20, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1,000. Okay, 2 million. There you go. He wanted $2 million times 136. Please explain to me why your cause is so fucking righteous when you're taking a bunch of little kids hostage and you're demanding $2 million each. How are you right in this goddamn case? No, you're not right. You're not right. You're a fucking loser.
Bomb. If I go down and this wedge pulls out, this school blows sky high. We're about half an inch from death.
News of the crisis flashed through Cokeville and beyond. Police converged on the scene.
Deb, all 4 of my children are in there.
Distraught parents confronted the sheriff, determined to take matters into their own hands.
The radio said that there's a bomb. They want
Take
them.
her rifle and put it back in your rear.
Listen, I got my boys in there. If you can't get them out, I will.
I can only imagine what the parents were also thinking. They may not even know who this piece of shit was, yet some stranger is threatening to kill their kids. It's like, to me, I've always been the type of person that you deal with the person who actually wronged you. You don't go to people, kill a bunch of people that had nothing to do with whatever happened to you.
David Young was a veritable human fuse. One tug of his wrist could destroy the schoolroom and everyone in it.
Okay, now get out of the way. Come on.
At one time, one of the children jostled Mr. Young, and he became quite upset. I guess he didn't want to set the bomb off. And either Mr. Mitchell or Mr. Moore suggested that they put tape in an area about a 9-foot square on the floor, what they called a magic square, so that the youngsters would not step inside that square and would not jostle Mr. Young's arm.
There was at one point we kept thinking, well, maybe someone can shoot him, from the outside, and I'd say no.
At the time, Amy Bagasso was 10 years old.
I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I am gonna die,
A kid should not have to think like that. A kid should not have to go to school and then, have to be put under this type of stress. I blame David Young and his parents for this. If David Young's parents taught him the way that they should have taught him the right way, he would not have done this. He would have found other ways to deal with his feelings of inferiority, in other words.
I'm not going to see my family. How am I going to, I'm not going to be able to grow up. I'm not going to be able to get my driver's license. I'm not going to be able to do anything.
May we please open some doors and windows and let some air in here? The fumes are making the kids sick. There were a lot of children getting ill from, throwing up and so forth from the smell of the gasoline fumes. As the time went on and the fumes got stronger, most of us felt pretty nauseated.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank thee for thy watch care.
We prayed a lot.
We thank thee for
I remember just sitting there with my hands clenched so tight, just praying to Heavenly Father that.
Okay, now nothing against what they were doing. Nothing against what they were doing. I will go on record and say I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in religion. It's just not for me. I can respect that they have stuff that they believe in, but it's just not for me. But I'm not going to really shit on them for it. What ultimately I think that happened was, do I think that they saw something and they're going to be talking about it pretty soon. I think that they did what I think it was I think it was a hallucination due to the fumes of the gasoline. If you listen to what the professionals say in this video, it seems like that the people, without realizing it, they actually made their chances of survival a lot better by opening up that window.
To let something happen, you know?
Dear Heavenly Father.
Many of those in the classroom believed that the praying heralded a coming miracle. First, David Young became agitated and appeared to lose confidence.
Yeah, because he's a fucking coward. It isn't that he lost confidence. No, the guy was a coward. He decided, you know what? I'm going to be a big boy. I'm going to do this real bad stuff, and I'm going to get my name in the history books. And then what it probably was a few hours into, or a few minutes, few hours, whatever, into this whole situation, he decided, oh shit, I'm going to hang if I actually survive this. And he lost his fucking guts. That's the way it is with a lot of these terrorists. They lose their courage. They're gutless.
Moments later, he handed control of the bomb over to his wife and left the room.
He's like, this wasn't what we were supposed to do. I thought we were going to go out in the blaze of glory. Where the fuck are you going?
By then,
Fucking
the children
loser.
had been
I swear
immobile
to
for
God.
nearly 2 hours. They were restless, irritable.
Could you please do something about the noise and help me get these kids quiet right now?
Eyewitnesses remember Doris Young gesturing carelessly, even though one false move would trigger a catastrophic explosion.
And the thing is, with this type of setup that they had for the bomb, let's say that that they had the world's best sniper, that he could fucking like be 10 miles out. He could be 10 miles out, aim, shoot, bounce off 2 cars, hit a squirrel, hit a telephone pole, and ricochet and hit the lady right in the head. Let's just say that that's how good this sniper was. The fact is, if that bullet hit her and killed her, she'd fall over and she'd pull that string and that bomb would go off. With the exception of literally her taking that string off, there was no way that they could have executed that lady via sniper or whatever without her falling over and that bomb going off.
Let's move them around a little bit.
God.
Get everybody from that
No,
side.
stop.
We can move some of the kids over here, and then we can move some of the kids over.
She was not the smartest of people. She was not the smartest of people. She knew how this bomb goes off. So what does she do? She starts doing the herky-jerky.
I had a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, and a 1st grader in that room. When I seen that smoke coming out of the windows, I expected to see this school go in a million pieces.
A few children stumbled from the smoke within seconds of the blast. Others were trapped in the classroom.
Teachers were throwing children out of the windows, and I could feel flames, feel hot on my back, and didn't yet realize that I was on fire. And I saw flames coming from the corner of my eye on my right shoulder and started to burn. So I dropped and rolled. And as I looked up, I could see all these little feet just scurrying out into the hallway. All these kids were just stepping over me and stepping on me and jumping over me, and out of nowhere.
I feel bad for her getting stepped on everything, but you also got to think that those kids are trying to get free. You can't, it's survival instincts at this point. I feel bad that she got stepped on, but then again, I'm also not that shocked because of the fact, like I said, survival instincts. You're going to do whatever possible to save your life.
I felt big hands just pick me up, and I looked up and saw Mr. Moore and Jack Mitchell, and they were beating the fire off of me, and they picked me up and they shoved me to safety.
Ambulances rushed injured children to area hospitals. Some of those who emerged unharmed were taken home by their parents. No one knew how many youngsters had survived, or how many might lay lifeless in the ashes. Just inside the classroom, police found the body of Doris Young. David Young had also died, but not from the explosion. He had killed himself with a single gunshot to the head.
What I say about these type of people being cowards. He didn't even have the fucking courage to see this through. He went to some other room and he killed himself. And and they want the way that they said it. I know Robert Stack was just reading from a script, but they're like, well, he did commit suicide. I don't give a flying fuck. I don't give a flying fuck if he committed suicide or not. His initial goal was he wanted to wipe out 136 kids. Just because he fucking committed suicide doesn't mean that he gets a golden star, because the kids live. No, he does not. He does not. He tried to do something horrible. He failed because he's a fucking coward.
The grim search for Cokeville's children commenced. After an hour, dread turned to hope, then hope to joy. Not a single child had perished in the flames. It seemed that Cokeville had been blessed with a miracle.
There's many things that point to something happening, and higher power to stepping in and helping this case.
Okay, get out of the way, come on.
At the very least, an extraordinary run of luck helped the children survive. By staying outside the so-called magic square, they were away from the bomb when it exploded. With the door...
This is where I think, this is what I think helped save a lot of the kids. Not only this, but it's also going to be revealed that the bombs could have been sabotaged.
Doors and windows open. Much of the bomb's force blew harmlessly out of the classroom. And then there was the bomb itself. Remnants sifted from the rubble told the incredible story.
Now look at this. There's a fully intact blasting cap. This bomb didn't even completely detonate.
The potential of this explosive device could have and should have destroyed that whole end of the school building, had it to function the way it was supposed to.
Police learned that Young had built and exploded several bombs exactly like the one he brought to Cokeville.
Okay, so this piece of shit, he already detonated this type of bomb before. Yet somehow he just happened to put together and bring this bomb in that was already sabotaged. You know what I think it was? I think it was Doris. I think she probably somehow tried to disable it because he basically told her, you're going to help me kill myself and all these kids. And maybe she was thinking, I don't want to die. But she was already married to the guy and she felt loyalty to him. So instead of actually doing what she should have done, which was call the fucking police, she thought, I'm going to snip a couple wires. I'm going to mess with the blasting cap. And then that's it. Yeah.
Yet in the classroom, Young's bomb had unexpected problems. A container of blasting powder had become thoroughly soaked, rendering it a useless paste. Detonation wires to other tubs of powder had been cut. No reason, no explanation.
There should have been 162 people dead in that room. We should have been in there just picking up bodies.
The people of Cokeville came to their own conclusion about the improbable turn of events. The hostages must have been saved by a modern-day miracle.
I just had this overwhelming feeling that Heavenly Father was there, that he was watching out over us.
To me, I knew that the Lord was there with me.
Now, I'm not going to say that they're right or wrong. I'm more of I have to, especially when it comes to religion. I'm the type of person, I have to see it. I can't put my faith blindly into something like that. I cannot do it, but I will not stop them from thinking like that. Regarding this, I have to go by the evidence of what there was. The bomb was messed with. The bomb was sabotaged. That's ultimately, that combined with the windows being opened. That, in my opinion, is what saved these kids.
And I knew that he would make it all right and that we'd make it through it.
A few students were adamant about seeing what they called a presence hovering above the room in the moments before the bomb ignited.
Ultimately, what I think it was I think that they saw what they saw? Yeah. I'm thinking that it was a hallucination due to the fumes of the gasoline. Just because they open up the window doesn't mean that the fumes automatically just instantly are gone. So no, it takes a while for a room to clear out due from from fumes like that. I think they saw something. It could have been a little bit different for each person. But what I think they saw was due to a reaction due to the constant inhalation of the fumes of the gasoline.
Some of the youngsters said that the mysterious presence actually directed them to move, advice that may have helped save their lives.
In my mind, the only way out of that thing would have been divine intervention. We've always said guardian angels, you know, to help people out, and I believe in that there is people that have went on before us to help us out.
What? What are you gonna do?
Sheriff Deb Wolfley says that outside the schoolroom, he too felt the touch of heavenly guidance.
What are you gonna do?
I remember very clearly thinking in my mind, what am I gonna do? Here's a man in here with a bomb who wants to blow our kids up. How am I gonna handle that?
Deb, get my boys out of there.
And I know that without a shadow of doubt that the God in heaven that answered my prayers, a voice said to me, everything will be okay.
What I think that was just part of his, like, you know, like his internal voice that was just trying to tell him that everything will be okay. It's like your brain trying to help you to kind of de-escalate and calm down. That's what I think it was.
One final discovery. This ghostly image singed into the north wall of the classroom led some to conclude that an angel had been in school that day.
That could have been due to the fire itself, you know. Just because you have something on the wall like that, people see a lot of stuff that they want to see that's not there. I remember, oh God, I think it was, I can't recall what it was. There was a case on Unsolved Mysteries a long time ago where I think it was like 3 kids that they were supposed to, I think it was called the Mother of Fatima or something like that. But that they told the people to go to this hilltop, if I remember correctly. And then the people on the hilltop, they were looking at the sun through the trees or some shit. I can't recall exactly what it was, but the sun was shining down through the trees. And I think they said that they saw like an angel or something. I may be wrong about that. People see exactly what they hope to see. It's because we're easy to, believe that sort of stuff.
Protecting innocent lives. Ten years have come and gone since a crazed gunman named David Young nearly wiped out an entire generation in Cokeville, Wyoming. Since then, the town has resumed its quiet ways. But most folks there still believe that only a divine miracle stood between themselves and unspeakable tragedy.
Okay, so that was the case of the Cokeville Elementary School bombing. It pisses me off. You have 2 pieces of shit that they think that the only way that they can deal with anything is to kill a bunch of innocent people. Now, keep in mind, it wasn't just the kids. There were also adults there. It takes a real coward, in my opinion, to do something like that. But thankfully, the only 2 people that actually died were the ones that was wanting to kill everybody, So, but yeah, so let's go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki to see what they have to say, shall we? If you are new to this series, this is where I go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and we see if there's been any other updates. Sometimes there are updates to some cases, sometimes there are not, but because these cases are recorded a long time ago, things could have developed since then. So let's see what we have here. Cokeville Elementary School explosion. The real name was Cokeville Elementary School. The case is unexplained phenomenon. The location was Cokeville, Wyoming, and the date was May 16th, 1986. At this point, I would have been 4 years old. So you already know the details. So let's just kind of scroll down. A lot of stuff here. Okay, extra notes. The case first aired on the December 13th, 1996 episode, so a little over 10 years later. It inspired the book When Angels Intervene to Save the Children, the Cokeville, Wyoming bombing incident by Hart Wixom, and Witness to Miracles. The former was adapted into the movie To Save the Children, starring Richard Thomas and Robert Ulrich. Robert Ulrich, that sounds familiar. It was also documented on Sightings, It's a Miracle, Unexplained Mysteries, and I Survived. Sightings is also another awesome TV series that I loved. The 2015 film, The Cokeville Miracle, was released based on it. In the recreation, David was played by B-movie icon Bill Moseley. I think he's from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong, though. Princess and David's friends. Who the fuck is Princess? Were never. Princess. Who the? Okay, hold on. I'm going to check this. Princess and David's friends were never charged. Princess. Oh, does. Oh, okay. Okay, so Princess apparently was one of his kids. Okay. Let's see here. And David's friends were never charged in the case. Sources vary on the number of hostages, the reason for Doris triggering the bomb, the cause of death, and the reason of David's firing from the police force. So apparently that's why it was that he decided to flip the switch. He got fired. Well, guess what, shithead? People get fired all the goddamn time. They just persevere, move on, and get a better job. They don't go and take a fucking school hostage. And then the results are unsolved. What do we have down here? Anything here? We got a lot of stuff that you guys can always check out. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look at it, but there is a lot of stuff here for your reading pleasure, I guess you could say. But yeah, so that was the case of the Cokeville Elementary School explosion. Thankfully, the people that, that these two lunatics were trying to kill, thankfully everybody survived, with the exception of those two pieces of shit. But this just goes to show that there are a lot of sick individuals out there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, everybody, we have reached the end of this video, and it was an interesting trip, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? I think as of now, this is one of the few cases that really made me angry that I've covered so far in this series. I'm just not a fan of people who go after a bunch of people for things that they were not even responsible for. I'm just glad that the good people lived, and the people who wanted to commit this atrocity, they were oddly the only ones that actually died. So I don't feel bad about that at all. But as always, the show is over, ladies and gentlemen. That means we got another installment coming up. The next scheduled installment, it is the Christmas 2025 special installment of Unsolved Mysteries commentary. When it comes to the holidays, I try to put out a vote for people to pick the next case that they can vote on when it comes to the holiday special. For Christmas 2025, I picked a couple cases that, make that people, are that people can consider like a Christmas miracle. These cases may or may not have been exactly around Christmas, but it's a miracle base, case, or cases. First off, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the case of Chucky McGivern. Chucky, he basically suffered a severe illness when he was really young, and when he was unconscious in the hospital, he was seeing, a child with glasses and everything. Coincidentally, the people at the same hospital that Chucky was, on life support at, they saw this child also. And it turned out that this child was the ghost of, I think he was of a priest. I may be wrong, but soon after, Chucky actually survived and he grew up and everything that I'm aware of. So this is the first of two choices that you could pick up from. The other one, it is a case that I love a lot. This is the case of the West End Baptist Church. Basically, you have, I think they said it was like something like 10, maybe 15 choir singers. They were supposed to report to their church to practice for an upcoming show, I guess you could say. Well, each and every one of those people had something happen to them that caused them to be delayed. It was either car trouble or working on homework from their school or just outright being kind of tired. But each and every one of these people actually had, something happened to them that delayed them from reporting to this church. Now, ultimately, this church exploded. It just blew up. It blew up, ladies and gentlemen. And come to find out, it was a natural gas leak. Well, after the church exploded, people thought that there were people actually in the church. And come to find out, no one was in the church when it exploded. It was, a lot of people say that it was an act of God. Me, I think it was luck. But I still love this case. And this is the second case you guys can vote on. Now, as of the time when this gets uploaded and you can watch it on Thanksgiving, this poll will already be active. So, go ahead and vote for it if you already, vote for your favorite case if you haven't already done it. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this installment of Unsolved Mysteries commentary. I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving wherever you are. I hope that you guys are with family and loved ones, and I hope that you are able to, just kind of relax and partake in the festivities that's going on. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wish you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.